I'm not the same Brooklyn you knew.
Hello guys and welcome back to Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 2 video, and today we are going to talk about a moment from Season 1 which had us all shocked. And which moment I may be talking about? Well, it's this one.
I was in love with Brooklyn.
Like, what? It's finally happening? Okay. I mean, in the first episode of Chaos Theory, I was like, Darius was grieving hard. He was like fake talking with Brooklyn on the phone, and I was like, okay, he must have gotten attached with Brooklyn even more after Camp Cretaceous. But then we hear this piece of dialogue of Darius that he loves her, and it's like, so Darius actually did fall in love with Brooklyn, and it's not like he didn't tell her, because if you hear this piece of dialogue,
I wasn't even gonna tell her. She tried to be nice about it, but it was clear she didn't feel the same.
so Darius, my boy, confessed his feeling to Brooklyn, and we are hearing this from his perspective. So it's like he says that Brooklyn was nice about it and clearly didn't feel the same, but it could change, because I feel like now that we're entering Season 2 and we're gonna get a flashback episode of Brooklyn and what she did when everyone else thought that she was dead, we're actually gonna find out if she had feelings for Darius. And to further add upon it, we have this shot from the trailer, which I completely looked over, of Brooklyn, and it seems like she's holding paper, but if you notice, she's standing at Darius's cabin. Yes, that is Darius's cabin. Now, I wonder what is she holding? Because she's holding some kind of papers. Maybe she hid those papers at his cabin, or she's leaving a letter to Darius. And I believe this is going to be taking place after the incident and after her flashback episode, and this might be happening as Darius and the other campers are at West Africa. But now, keeping that shot of Brooklyn in mind, I believe we can most likely confirm that by the end of this show, Darius and Brooklyn are going to be the endgame. Darlynn is gonna be canon, right? Well, I may have few points that might suggest otherwise. Now, I hate to be the one to spoil all the fun. I mean, trust me, I want Darius and Brooklyn to be the endgame. But even when Darius confessed he had feelings for Brooklyn, I feel like we needed a moment or a flashback like we had with the other campers sharing a moment with Brooklyn. For instance, Ben having a moment with Brooklyn at the rooftop, Yaz sharing a moment with Brooklyn with a Stegosaurus, Sammy having a moment. Well, it wasn't a moment, it was just her thinking of Brooklyn, and then we having big flashback of Kenji breaking up with Brooklyn. I feel like we needed that bit of flashback, and I know we did get one, but it was the night of the incident, and I needed the flashback where Darius and Brooklyn were having fun or were having a nice moment. But I believe they're saving that for Season 2 with the Brooklyn flashback episode, where we're gonna see Darius and Brooklyn at Darius's cabin, and we see Darius falling in love with Brooklyn. So yeah, that is just one thing. The second thing I wanted to point out is Kenji. Like, he has been through it. He had everything when he first started Camp Cretaceous. Now, he has nothing. He lost all the money, and for crying out loud, he saw his own dad die in front of him. Right when he thought he could have some kind of moment of peace with his father dies in front of his eyes. And then, if you think about it, Kenji breaks up with Brooklyn only to then find out that soon Brooklyn dies, and right after some time has passed, he finds that his bestest friend Darius has fallen in love with his ex-girlfriend. So even when he finds out that Brooklyn is alive, which by the trailer he does find out, he has to let her go to Darius. And I know that he himself broke up with Brooklyn, but from the trailer it seemed like he had some kind of feelings still for Brooklyn, and he regretted breaking up with her. But it's kind of strange. Would he give up Brooklyn when he does find out that Brooklyn is alive? Or does Darius let Brooklyn go so Brooklyn can be with Kenji? I mean, which way is it gonna go? Because if you think about it, if Kenji lets go of Brooklyn, which could be happening, because if we really are heading towards Darlynn as the end game, Kenji is gonna let her go. I really feel like Kenji is gonna die if that is the case, because we already know by the episode 1 of season 2, Kenji is suicidal. He has a death wish, and it could be that by the end of this season, Kenji dies. This show has been a lot more mature than Camp Cretaceous, so I wouldn't put it past this show for it doing this kind of stunt of killing Kenji off, or Kenji somehow ends up having a love relationship with this new character Xana. But I believe Xana is in this season so she can lead the campers to the location of this dinosaur liberation now group. So I really don't know how things are gonna go for Kenji this season. Like, maybe he's gonna die. I hope not, but it could happen. So that's one thing. Lastly, I want to talk about one of the points that isn't even being talked about from season 1, and it's the fact when Kenji asked why wasn't Darius there at the night of the accident to save Brooklyn, Darius just said this.
But Kenji, you were right. If I was really in love with Brooklyn, I should have been there.
Still isn't a real reason for him not being there when Brooklyn asked him to be there. And I don't know about you, I feel like Darius is hiding something. Now what that could be, well, I have a theory. Now this is probably one of my wildest theory, but what if Darius is dying? I know, what? Darius is dying? I mean, if you remember, Darius's father was diagnosed with some kind of illness, right? And we don't know what illness it was, but we are sure that his father died because of that illness. What if Darius' father, Frederick Bowman, was diagnosed with cancer? Now, it is said that kid can carry that cancer into him because of some genes. So what if the night when Brooklyn asked Darius to be there, Darius finds out that he was diagnosed with cancer, and thus he's trying to find a closure to himself. He's trying to find a closure so he can rest easy. Thus, he goes on to this mission of finding who the broker is. Now, I know this is far-fetched, and honestly, I do hope they go the simple route with Darius and Brooklyn becoming the end game and not going this dark path that I am theorizing. But yeah, this is a theory for a reason, right? This is just a fun speculation. I mean, it could be happening, but it doesn't have to happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. So yeah guys, this wraps up today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and as always, I will see you next time. Bye for now.